Hi, my name is Chris Caswell, and we're going to talk about borons and show you some of the basics of how to play them, and we're going to go over a bit on spoons, bones, and finally the Highland snare drum. The first thing I want to do is talk about the basic rhythms that we're going to get into. There are only two groups of rhythms that you have to learn on boron to get by, and that is anything divided by 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Anything divided by 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That'll cover everything. From in 2, you have strass bays, which is a kind of a weird Scottish reel. You have marches, and you have reels themselves, which are a quick dance tune. In 3s, you've got waltz and jig, and polkas fit in there under 2s. Before we get to that, however, I want to talk about the drum itself. All you really need is something that's going to hold up to you beating on it with a stick. So if you don't have a drum yet, you can still get away with learning the drum as long as you've got something that will pass as a stick and that will serve as a drum. Some of the things we've come up with as practice borons throughout the years. The first, probably the most accessible, is this. This is some people refer to it as a box, but it's actually a practice boron. This one holds about a dozen albums, so it has a multi-purpose to it. Now, if you don't have a stick, you can use things like a penny whistle. Penny whistles make good sticks. Now, this is a practice boron, so it's quieter, and that way you don't offend your neighbors while you're learning. Now, if you don't have a practice boron of this sort, we have the executive model practice boron, and this also has several functions. Some of them are large enough so you can use them as overnight borons. This is just a boron for the office. And the same thing applies with sticks. Actually, a lot of craft stores have little things similar to this. This is actually a stick made for the boron, but you can go down and buy things that you hang macrame on, which look about like this, and which can serve as a stick. Other shapes of sticks. Some drums come with a stick kind of like this. I think it's a bit short and kind of heavy, but it works. And lastly, obviously the best stick which has ever been made for the boron, made by this brilliant craftsman in Northern California. And you should go out and buy at least 3 or 4 of these because you'll probably lose 2 of them. I sell them for a reasonable price, and you can always get them at your best traditional music stores. But there's actually a better thing than the executive model practice boron, and that is the drum itself. Some drums come decorated, and the decorated drums, there is an ancient tradition in decoration of drums, and the reason they do this is to distract the listener from the actual playing, and these are given to beginner boron players until they get competent enough to go on to a drum which is more appropriate to advanced playing. But these are well made, good sturdy borons. If you have one of these drums and if you feel it and you have a fairly rough surface, you might want to get some sort of leather treatment, make sure that it's not going to hurt the painting. Get some sort of leather treatment that is going to smooth that surface out. You can hear how my hand makes a rather rough sound across its surface, and that rough surface will also give you a kind of a noise in your stick, and that's not desirable. This is a wonderful drum. It's got a fairly thin skin, and the thinner the skin, the lighter the tone is going to be, but more the tone can be manipulated. This one has 3 cross pieces in a kind of almost a triangular fashion in the back, and the idea here is that it gives you more room to get your hand in there. We'll get more on that later. The other drum that I use, let me show you the one previous, has a kind of a typical cross piece pattern in the back. And that's 90% of your drums will look like that. Some people don't use cross pieces, that's fine. You don't really have to have them. I like them, but that's just because I'm used to them. This is the drum I normally use. It's got a thicker skin, which gives you a nice round sound to it. Also, the thicker skins are less susceptible to changes in humidity. They don't go out of tune as readily as a thin skin drum. Now this one, the skin is also much smoother, much quieter sound, so you don't get as much of that hiss off the stick. And the back of the drum is like the other one in that it's triangular. This one we came up with the idea of having kind of 3 equal areas, so you have randomly the best chance of getting your hand in there in a hurry. I want to talk about the hand as your stick. It's a very nice, intimate sound, and it's also a really nice way of approaching holding the stick itself as a preliminary. The basic thing is to use your long finger, the back of it, the very last joint of your finger, the knuckle and the nail, as the head of the stick. You bring your hand around so that that joint is facing flat on to the drum skin, and this, you can see that it brings my wrist around like that. All right. You want to keep your other fingers out of the way, so you're basically making an obscene gesture to your drum, but that's okay. Now, the basic trick is to get a glancing blow off of the drum skin. By glancing, I mean that you're going to bounce, essentially bounce off the point where you hit that skin. You'll notice that the upstroke tends to be kind of weak, and so you want to work on getting a nice clean throw where you actually throw your wrist up to the upstroke. And the whole body comes into this. From the shoulder down should be very relaxed. Okay, no tension up in here. And you want the forearm to be the driving force. All the motion comes from the shoulder. Okay. All that happens here is the wrist follows the motion of the forearm. So the wrist is very relaxed, no tension. Now bring your finger out. Point the back of your finger to the drum and just slowly bring it closer to the drum, and all of a sudden there you are. Avoid pushing it. Avoid getting the other fingers in there. Nice, clean, light bounce, glancing blow, up and down. Now I want to talk about the stick itself. The stick is held kind of like you hold a pencil almost, but a little bit different. Here's what happens. You hold, the main grip is right there, in the crotch of that finger and thumb. The other fingers are wrapped around it. They provide control. They limit how far that drumstick can go, otherwise it would fly out too far. Now, as you play, you'll find that as we start doing this, that this will tend to creep out because you don't have the grip well practiced yet, and it will creep out. This is tiring, and you have to just get used to holding it in there. After a while, it'll become a lot easier. Limit the travel of the stick by your other fingers. Now notice, the long finger is kind of in line with where the head of the stick is now, so that what you were just doing before with the back of your finger, just substitute the head of the Bodhran stick. Everything else is the same. Holding the drum, you want to make the drum secure against your chest. So this area wants to hug the drum. You're pressing in with this arm in here with your back hand. Now, you can see that I'm playing with my hand behind the cross pieces, and you want to snug the upper edge of your hand into the very inner corner of the drum. you notice that the bottom edge of the hand is kind of raised. There's no connection between the hand and the skin in the whole bottom part of the hand, just right up here in the very top corner. Okay. Now you take the drum. See, now you can now float the drum. The drum now floats, and it's held pretty well by your hand. You could play out here, with it not touching anywhere in the whole body, and that's pretty stable. You can play like that, like for wild processions in your parties and that sort of thing. The thing you want to do, though, normally is to put it on your lap, so it's relaxed, hold it into the body, so that it gives just a bit of damping to it. It also prevents the drum from moving around this way, because that is very distracting when you're playing, and it will happen. That's one reason I like the cross pieces, because it gives you something to press the back of your hand against and gives you that much more leverage. So you can hold it rigid and then just even more secure. And now you're ready to bring the stick up into it. Listen to what the damping does. It's now damped right on inside here. Here it is without damping. All right. Here's what happens with that, just that little bit of damping. But now I'm not against the body. This is all free down here. Now here it is against the body. That's a really good session sound. That's a good Bodhran tone right there. The basic rhythm for a lot of the music that you play in traditional British and old-timey American is the boom chaka, boom chaka, boom chaka. We'll construct that using the up-down stroke that you've already got. Divide it into groups of 4 by putting an accent at the beginning of each 4. To get that accent, just drive your hand a bit harder down. Get the boom chaka, just drop the second beat of each 4. So it's down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Now it's down, down, up, down, down, up. But don't stop your hand when you're not playing that second beat. Don't go, because then your hand isn't ready to play the next downbeat, because your hand's down here instead of up here. Follow through with the hand even if you're not playing the beat. This is true of almost everything we do. And as you get control, you slowly bring it up to speed. Resist the urge to tighten anything in here. Make sure that the whole arm is relaxed throughout the spectrum of speed. As you get tighter, if you feel any tightness occurring in here, just stop. Relax the whole arm. Let me show you some variations of this basic rhythm. Doing is changing the accent placement. Down, down, up, down, down, up. I'll change the order in which those go. Now that takes us into the next bit, which is how to get an up accent. And this is the key to playing jig time. We've done everything so far in 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now we're going to play in 3. Start with your up, down, just like you did before. accent 1 out of every 6. 1 down on downstroke. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now accent 1 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Remember, you've got to kind of throw that arm up to get a nice clean up accent. Takes a while to get this. While you're working on that, you can still be playing jigs, because it might take you several weeks to get that. What you can do, though, to make an adequate jig time rhythm, in which you'll use quite a bit, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, both downstrokes, accent. Down, 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 down. Once you've got the up accent, though, start using it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now try this. Leave out beats 5 and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. Now put back in 6. And that's like 2 ups in a row. Now you can use all these different things in combination. What I just did is called a hemiola. It's putting 3 beats in the space of 2, or vice versa. And you get a kind of a effect. It's the superimposition of one beat structure on another. Here's a way to approach it very slowly. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 4 E and 1. You're back to 1 again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 4 E and 1. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 4 E and 1. Drums have 2 inherently different voices. One is the sound you get from hitting the middle of the drum, and the other is what comes off the edge. Get those 2 different voices by playing to the center of the drum with the end of the stick, and over to the edge. Low and high, low and high. The downbeat normally gets that lower voice. Down, 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 down. 1 and 1 and 1. And you'll find your arm getting kind of a rocking motion back and forth, or kind of a circular flow to it. That'll bring your drum stick over to that part of the drum and back into the center again. You can use this to shade your accompaniment to the melody, to follow the rise and fall of the melody, or to accentuate the melody's rhythmic structure. Using the inside hand, you can get a lot of variation in the tone. You're already damping in this region here. If you close that hand down on the inside, so you're now damping this whole area, it goes from this tone to this tone. So you have this effect. Now, if you move the hand around, you'll change the actual pitch of the drum, similar to the two voices that we talked about earlier, like this. You can almost play like tom-toms, right? You can also get more clear tones by using the heel of the hand. This heel of the hand with the fingers raised, so you're just playing across this part of your bottom of your palm. And that gives you this sort of tone. Go back and forth from the damping in here, the little ridge up in here, to the heel of your hand. And you can move that around like you did before. There's no point in going past the center of the drum. If you start going back down here, you're just going to duplicate whatever you did up here as far as changing the tone. It just goes back down again. So you go from the edge to the center. That's your area of change. Now, you can also do one more trick, and that is to press harder with the back of your palm, the heel of your palm, against the crosspiece here. Press harder. And that gets you a change like a timpani drum being changed in pitch. And this. And back to the original damping up here. Now I can show you how that works in terms of actual playing. I'll use all of those various damping tricks in combination. But here we go. Now you can also do little things with your fingers up in here, which is kind of like a slight variation on using the back of the hand. You have a limitless range of things you can do all up and down the back of the drum. You get another voice by hitting the edge of the rim. But this is an effect you only use sparingly because it's going to wear on the skin there also. You don't want to, that is a rather distracting noise if used too much. So use that with great restraint. You can also do this. This is kind of a novelty shot, and I'm not particularly very fond of it, but use it if you want to. Just don't use it too much. Throughout a lot of my examples, you've seen me do little fill notes. Here's how you do them. The stick has been bouncing up and down, and the angle of the drum to the stick has been about like that. Now, curl your wrist farther over while you're playing, just a little bit, and all of a sudden, that other side comes into play. But don't think one back, don't think front of your hand, back of your hand, front of your hand, because you'll never play it that way. It's actually much faster than that. It just has to do with the angle of the hand to the drum. From there, practice doing this until you have nice control, and then insert it into your basic boom checker rhythm. On a jig time. A handy place to do it in jigs is on that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You'll put it between the 1 and the 3. Next step in the oversticking is to move the double overbeat to the end of a group of 4. What you've got from before is this. 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2, 1 and a 2, 1 and a 2. Move it to the 2. And that leaves you on a kind of an upbeat feel. Next step would be to take those and alternate them. So you have absolute freedom where you're going to put those doubles, and those are what really ornament your setting of a melody. Now while we're on this, let's talk about playing to a melody. Oftentimes a player in a traditional setting won't play if he doesn't know the tune, because he's going to shade his playing to the melody that's being played on the fiddle or flute or whatever. And so you shape the tune with all the tone differences we had before, all the double sticking we've got now, as well as the dynamics that are inherent with the louder or softer hitting of the drum. Rhythms we haven't touched on yet are the polka and the strathspey. Polkas are very tiring to play. But all you can do is a very quick 1, 2, and 1, 2, and boom checker. Self-winding watch is a great gift for a Bodhran player. The second thing that we want to touch on is the strathspey, and the strathspey is a very pronounced rhythm where the first and third beat of every 4 is very long. So it's a real, instead of going deedle deedle daddle deedle daddle deedle da, it goes da ha da ha da ha da, 1 and 3 and 1 and 3. This is actually a jig in disguise from the point of view of a Bodhran player. 1, 3, and 1, and 8, da, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But think of it as a 4/4. So you're moving your hand as if you're playing a very fast jig. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 3, 4, 6, 1, 3, 4, and that gives you the pronounced feeling of the strathspey. A couple of thoughts about when to play and when not to play. There's times in a session, perhaps when someone's playing a long, slow air, when it's not appropriate to play Bodhran. Don't feel you always have to play, and by all means, don't use all the tricks that we've been going over every time you play. Show great restraint when you play, and go for the less is more school of Bodhran interpretation. If you're having trouble with the holding of the stick for the doubles, be aware that if you stick the drumstick farther out over the back of your hand, instead of holding it directly in the middle, it'll be easier to get those overstickings and your doubles will become clearer. That's about it. Let me show you some examples to play to. The bone is rhythmically just like the boron. Everything you've learned about the rhythms is going to apply here. The only difference is that the bones have a built-in fill beat. That is, what we get with oversticking on the boron is done kind of inherently in the bones. First, how to hold them. One stick is held rigid between the thumb and your first finger. It doesn't move. Second stick, opposing the angles so that they're kind of facing away from each other, goes in between the first and second finger, or some people put it down that way, farther down, to broaden that gap. And it's held firmly, but it's kind of like a spring. Now, when you move your hand with a sharp jerking motion, it will drive the one that's kind of like a spring against the rigid one. So you're kind of like throwing your arm out as if you're shaking water off it. Now the same is true in reverse, which is the weaker motion. And kind of the top stick, which is the bone, which is the spring-like one, falls essentially against the rigid bones. So out, jerk, in, jerk. And you hear how it gets that kind of double in there. And by actually stopping the motion of the hand, you will get that essentially boom chaka. Now you can change the tone by changing where you hold the bones. So a lot of dynamic variation that way. You can also play with different kinds of bones, very different tone. Those are very old ebony bones, belongs to a friend of mine whose grandfather owned them. These are very light wood bones, softer, rounder sound. Here's some hardwood bones, but slightly different shape. And they're thinner, they're going to have a higher pitch sound. And then there's bones. Bones have a very nice weight to them and have a nice feel. The way they flow in your hand is very nice. Now what I was just doing there was approaching what you need to be able to control in order to get jigs on bones, which is kind of tricky. You have to be able to get a very slow, open dum-dickety-dum. What is quickly here, da-da-dum, bida-dum, bida-dum, has to be slowed down and controlled. And that's jig. That's your jig time. The sound of one bone clacking. 2, 3, and 4. The bones and the spoons are very similar. The way you hold them is almost identical. You've got one rigid bone, the second one is kind of spring-loaded against the first. If you were to push those up to the other end, that's essentially what you're doing with the spoons. One is rigid, and the other one goes in below it, and is kind of spring-loaded so that when you whack it against your body, it makes a sound. This is a masochistic instrument. To get your upstroke, just place your hand palm down right over your lap, and up it goes. Just don't hit it on the upstroke if you want the gap to make the boom chugga, boom chugga, boom. To get the fill beats, just tip your finger in there to catch the spoon on the way down after having hit it on the top stroke. Same with jig time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The only new thing is that you've got to get that up accent again, and you can help this by hitting it a little harder with the top of your the top spoon. You can also do double strokes by just double timing your actual hand movement in here. Make sure you're always pumping from the elbow. This is what's going to give you your speed and control. One last trick. By sticking your fingers very rigidly out and holding them thusly, and by relaxing the top spoon, the one that's held stiff, you can create a kind of a stairway down which you pull the spoons. Different types of spoons will give you different tone. Wooden ones have a nice round clack to them. Old soup spoons are very nice. Regular old kitchen spoons Now if you have a spoon which has a very deep curve in it, like these, you're going to want to spread them out by putting, say, 2 fingers between the spoons instead of just one. This creates more of a gap and allows them room to bounce. So if you want to imitate clog dancers on your lap, that's the way to do it. Scottish Highland style drumming is about the most complex form of percussion we've got in Western civilization, in my opinion. It's a combination of the rudimental drumming of the military with jazz drumming, and this happened somewhere in the 30s and 40s. To begin, the left stick is held very much like the Bodhran stick, with the thumb providing the real grip, the fingers curling under and over to limit travel. You want the wrist to be fairly straight, and you want the thumb to ride on the front part of the stick. This provides a kind of a checking motion when you bounce the stick on the skin, and by pivoting the wrist, you'll find that your wrist will follow that stick around the drum. The right hand is held very much like a buggy whip, and the flicking motion that occurs when you bring those fingers in, the grip is actually right here. But you don't want to get out playing like this. Make sure those fingers are curled over, and keep the stick straight onto the arm. In both cases, motion comes from the wrist. This one flicking, this one pivoting, not from the forearm. There are 2 basic types of stroke. There are the open strokes, nice high light bounces off the skin, and buzzes, or closed strokes, which you drop the stick and try to milk as long a series of bounces as you can out of the thing. The way you can start using these is by making what's called a paradiddle, which combines single and double strokes. Single, single, double. On the other hand, single, single, double. So left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right. For the buzzes, you can start making rolls of discrete length. Buzz on the left, buzz on the right, and a tap on the left. Makes what we call a 5-beat roll. And on the same, on the other hand, be right, left, right. Don't push the buzzes. They shouldn't have any more emphasis than an open stroke does. One last thing which is rather interesting about Highland drumming are the tizzes. These are closed rolls that are interrupted by open work. We create what are called settings, which go along with the melodies that the bagpipes are playing, and these are very intricate. It's an infinite variety of combinations of singles, doubles, tizzes, and buzz rolls.